There are two primary types of bird migration. The first one we'll look at is facultative migration, and the other is obligate or long-distance migration. Facultative migrants, like this red-winged blackbird, travel only small distances during the year. These distances could be a few hundred miles, and are driven primarily by weather or food availability, or something of that like. The other type of bird that we'll look at is the long-distance migrant, or the obligate migrant, and it's called an obligate migrant because it's obligated to migrate every year. It's too cold up here in the winter in North America, so it flies south to South America. And in this case, the black burning warbler breeds throughout much of boreal Canada and into the northern temperate forest, and winters in South America. This migration is about 3,500 miles, and can be done over a matter of days or a matter of weeks. Now the amazing thing about this is that we never really see these birds actively migrating, but this is because birds primarily fly at night, and we can't really see them at night, and they do this to increase energy efficiency and avoid predators. But this nocturnal migration is a very complex phenomenon. The birds are flying at night, and as they fly, a lot of them give flight calls, which are termed nocturnal flight calls. They do this to maintain flock composure or to avoid other birds in the sky. These calls are normally 50 milliseconds in length and range from 6 to 8 kilohertz, so they're very short and very high. They're hard to hear. Different species give different flight calls. You'll see here that there are a bunch of different families of birds that can kind of be found in these general ranges. So there's warblers, thrushes, grosbeaks, bitterns, and sparrows are some of the main nocturnal flight calling birds. Now when they give these calls, scientists use something called a pressure zone microphone. This is a specialized microphone that allows scientists to listen to the calls and record them and view the calls as spectrograms. These spectrograms make it much easier to be analyzed to identify the birds to species. So this allows us to hear the birds flying over at night. But another great way to experience this migration phenomena is by looking on weather radar. Since migration primarily occurs when the winds are favorable for the birds, so in the fall, when the birds are flying north to south, we want the winds to be coming from the north, and in the spring, we want the winds to be coming from the south. On these nights, we can actually see the birds migrating on the radar because there are so many of them. It's just such a large biomass of birds migrating. This can be up to thousands of birds. And it starts out sort of like a green color, and then as it grows, the green grows with the number of birds, and eventually you get like a nice blue in the middle if there are a lot of birds migrating that night. It's a really cool way to actually see what's happening. You can hear these birds migrating over at night particularly well when the cloud cover is low at night. This forces the birds down. It forces them to fly lower underneath the clouds so we can hear them better. And this is often associated with sort of wet conditions, so the sound travels a lot better. But if the clouds are not low that night, it might be a better day to check your local patches in the morning, because you never really know what might show up.